every minute matters. Think about that for a moment. Every minute. Not just the grand hours or the long days. Not the months where we plan, dream, wait for success to appear. But the small, fleeting, fragile minutes that slip away while we scroll, pause, or hesitate. Every minute matters. And yet, most of us live as if we have an endless supply of them. We move through our days with the quiet illusion that time will wait for us, that tomorrow will always come, that one more scroll, one more pause, one more delay won't make a difference. But the truth is, it does. Minute shapes the rhythm of our life. Every 60 seconds carries a choice. A choice to grow or to stand still, to create or to consume, to move forward or to drift backward. Imagine standing in front of an hourglass, watching the sand fall, grain by grain. You can't stop it. You can't reverse it. Each grain that falls is gone forever, but each grain that remains still holds potential. Potential to build something, to change something, to live something worth remembering. That's what this chapter is about, understanding that a single minute, properly used, has the power to transform your entire direction. Think about how often life changes in moments. The minute you said yes to a dream, your full attention, the minute you took a risk, the minute you made a decision to start something new. It's never the long stretches of time that shift our destiny, small, decisive moments when we choose differently. A minute can spark a new idea, mend a broken bond, start a habit, or even end a cycle of procrastination that has kept you trapped for years. When you begin to see time this way, as living energy, not just ticking numbers, you start to realize how much of your potential is hidden in plain sight. Most people underestimate the minute. They treat it as nothing, a pause, a filler, a waiting space between what's important and what's not. But success lives inside those small spaces. Your attention. Every great athlete, artist, inventor, or leader didn't win because they had more hours than you. They won because they used the small minutes others wasted. They wrote one more page. They practiced one more move. They reflected one more time when others stopped thinking. A single minute, repeated with purpose, becomes momentum. And momentum is what carries you past the point where others give up. It's not about managing time, it's about honoring it. You cannot stretch a minute, but you can deepen it. You can fill it with something meaningful, something that moves you closer to the life you imagine. You spend 1 minute daily visualizing your goals. That's 365 minutes of pure intention in a year. Over 6 hours of focused energy directed toward your dream. 1 minute of gratitude each morning can shift your mindset, opening your day with appreciation instead of anxiety. 1 minute of silence before a big decision can keep you from years of regret. The question is not how much time you have, it's how deeply you choose to live inside the time you already possess. When people say they don't have time, what they often mean is that they don't have focus. The world is overflowing with distractions designed to steal your minutes. Notifications, conversations, noise, and comparison. But every time you allow those to win, you trade your life for them. Time is not taken from you, it's traded by you. And when you start to treat your minutes like gold, you begin to notice how easily you've been giving them away. A wise person guards their time like a treasure, not because they fear losing it, but because they understand its worth. You cannot buy back a lost minute, cannot revisit it, replay it, or repair it once it's gone. And yet, each new minute that arrives gives you a fresh beginning. A blank space, waiting for meaning. That's the beauty of time. It's both fragile and forgiving. Even if you've wasted thousands of minutes in the past, The one you're living right now is pure, untouched of possibility. It asks you a simple question: what will you do with me? Every day, gifted 440 of these tiny miracles. Minutes that can be molded into learning, building, loving, or growing. You may not be able to change everything in one day, but you can change something in 1 minute. Your attitude, your focus, your decision, your next step. The smallest adjustment can lead to the largest transformation when multiplied over time. The great philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." If you truly absorbed that truth, you'd begin to see every minute as sacred. A moment where your life story is being written, one breath at a time. This awareness doesn't mean living in fear of losing time. It means living with reverence for the minutes you still have. It means treating time as your ally, not your enemy. Because the moment you become aware of its value, you stop fighting it and start flowing with it. You begin to design your life around priorities that matter and let go of the noise that doesn't. So, as you listen to these words, I want you to pause, not in guilt, but in gratitude. You still have time. You have minutes waiting for you, ready to be transformed into meaning. Each one is a doorway to progress, a seed for success, a chance to live more consciously. Your full attention. What would your life look like if you chose to live each minute with intention instead of distraction? How different would your days feel if you stopped saying, "I don't have time," and started saying, "I'll make this minute count"? That's the shift that changes everything. Success is not created in years, it's built in minutes. Joy is not found in destinations, discovered in moments. And transformation doesn't wait for a perfect time. It begins in the next 60 seconds you choose to use wisely. Your full attention as you move forward through this book. Remember this truth: you already have enough time to become who you're meant to be. The challenge is not the lack of time, it's the lack of awareness. The clock is ticking for everyone, but only a few learn to listen to its rhythm and dance with it. Be one of them. Let this be the minute you decide that your time is valuable, that your energy is sacred, and that your dreams are worth the minutes they require. Because once you make that decision, every other choice becomes easier. You start to live awake, alert, alive, minute by minute, moment by moment, turning time into transformation. And that's where success truly begins. Chapter 2 and the invisible leak. Where your time disappears. Time doesn't usually vanish in great chunks, it slips away quietly, like water dripping from a small crack in a pipe, unnoticed until you realize how much has been lost. Every day, people wonder where their time goes, asking questions like, "Why didn't I get anything done today?" Or, "Where did the hours disappear?" The truth is, time rarely gets stolen, surrendered, bit by bit, to invisible leaks. These leaks hide inside your routines, your habits, your distractions, and even your thoughts. They are the moments spent checking your phone for no reason, the unnecessary conversations that go nowhere, the endless loop of hesitation before action. They disguise themselves as small, harmless moments, but collectively, they drain your days, your energy, and your progress. If you were to track your minutes, you'd be shocked at how much time escapes through these cracks. 5 minutes here, 10 there, and before you know it, an hour is gone, and you have nothing to show for it. That is the invisible leak. Not the loss of time, but the loss of awareness. Because awareness is what turns ordinary minutes into purposeful moments. And the absence of awareness turns your hours into smoke. Imagine your day as a container of 440 golden coins, one for every minute you have. Every time you wake up, life hands you a new pouch filled with opportunity. The question is, where do you spend your coins? Some people spend them with precision, investing in learning, creating, connecting, resting, and growing. Others scatter them carelessly, spending without intention, unaware of the real cost. A minute spent on distraction is not just a minute lost. It's a minute that could have built your future. The invisible leak begins when you stop noticing where your time goes. It starts when you treat small wastes of time as insignificant, telling yourself that 5 minutes doesn't matter. But 5 minutes repeated daily is over 30 hours a year. 30 hours that could have been used to learn a new skill, to write a book, to strengthen a relationship, or to improve your health. Not about perfection. It's about precision. When you understand that the small things are not small at all, you begin to seal the leaks that have been silently eroding your potential. One of the biggest leaks in modern life is digital distraction. The average person checks their phone dozens, sometimes hundreds, of times a day. Notifications are like tiny hooks that pull your attention away from what matters most. You may tell yourself it's just a quick glance, just a message, just a video, just a post, but every just comes with a price. Studies show that it can take over 20 minutes to regain full focus after a simple distraction. So when you think you're losing only a minute, you're actually losing momentum, clarity, and flow. These small interruptions accumulate like rust on your concentration, weakening your ability to think deeply or stay committed. And the danger lies not in how much time you lose, but in how numb you become to losing it. Because once you accept distraction as normal, you begin to live reactively instead of intentionally. The world becomes a constant stream of noise. Your mind becomes a receiver instead of a creator. But digital distractions aren't the only leaks. Our emotional ones too. The time spent replaying old arguments, worrying about what others think, or waiting for the perfect moment to act. These leaks are subtle but powerful because they disguise themselves as thinking. You believe you're processing, when in truth, you're pausing. You think you're preparing, when you're actually procrastinating. Fear, doubt, and indecision consume more minutes than any app ever could. Every time you delay taking action because you feel uncertain, you open another crack for time to escape. Life doesn't reward those who wait for perfect timing. It rewards those who use imperfect minutes wisely. Because even a small step forward beats endless planning that never becomes reality. There are also social leaks. Time given to conversations that drain rather than inspire. Commitments made out of guilt instead of purpose, and energy spent pleasing people who add no value to your growth. Learning to say no isn't about arrogance. It's about awareness. About protecting your minutes from being wasted on things that don't align with your goals or your peace. Every yes should be measured. Every yes costs time, and time, once spent, cannot be earned back. Protecting your time doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means surrounding yourself with people and environments that respect it. You must learn to be intentional not just with your tasks, but with your company, because energy is contagious, and so is distraction. Another invisible leak hides in multitasking, the illusion of productivity. You might think doing multiple things at once makes you efficient, but in truth, it divides your attention and weakens your results. The human brain thrives on focus, not fragmentation. Every time you switch from one task to another, you pay a mental toll, a moment of lost clarity, a fragment of energy spent refocusing. Over time, this toll becomes heavy, and your ability to concentrate fades. True efficiency comes from doing one thing with total presence, not 10 things with half attention. When you learn to slow down and give your full mind to one action, you'll find that you accomplish more in less time. Not because you worked harder, because you worked deeper. To stop your time from leaking away, you must first track it. Awareness is the sealant. For one day, how you spend every hour. Not to judge yourself, but to understand your patterns. Where does your focus drift? What tasks give you energy? Which ones drain it? Where are your hidden leaks? In your habits, your emotions, or your environment? Once you identify them, begin to fix them. Replace mindless scrolling with mindful reflection. Turn waiting time into learning time. Transform small idle minutes into moments of purpose. The goal isn't to fill every second with activity. It's to align every second with intention. The invisible leak will never completely disappear. We are human, and life is not meant to be a race against the clock. But the moment you become conscious of it, you regain control. You begin to notice how precious your time truly is. You stop measuring days by hours and start measuring them by meaning. You realize that you are the gatekeeper of your own attention. Wherever your attention goes, your time flows. When you patch the leaks, even the simplest day becomes powerful, because your minutes are no longer slipping through cracks of distraction. They're being poured into the foundation of your future. So, the next time you ask, where did the time go? Pause and listen. The answer is whispering in every small choice you make, unnoticed moment you trade, every invisible leak you allow. The key is not to chase time, but to protect it. To hold it gently, to use it wisely. Let no minute fade without purpose. Because when you do, time stops leaking and starts leading you towards success, fulfillment, the life you were meant to live. The way you think about time shapes the way you live it, and that single truth is what separates people who feel in control of their days from those who feel enslaved by the clock. Time is not just a resource, a reflection of your mindset, a mirror showing how you perceive progress, purpose, and possibility. You can't master your minutes until you master your mind. The mindset of time begins with understanding that time is neutral. It doesn't rush, doesn't wait, it doesn't favor anyone, it simply moves. How you experience it depends entirely on how you approach it. To some, an hour feels like a lifetime, to others, it slips away unnoticed. The difference isn't in the clock. It's in the consciousness. The way you think about time determines how you use it, how you feel about it, and ultimately, how you live your life. You believe you have no time. Your brain will behave as though time is scarce, rushing through tasks, feeling overwhelmed, losing joy in the process. But if you believe time is abundant, that every minute is an opportunity waiting to be designed, you begin to slow down, focus, and create value in even the smallest of moments. That's the essence of the time mindset. It's not about having more hours, but about thinking differently about the ones you have. Most people carry a relationship with time that's rooted in tension. They see it as something external, a force that controls them, something they're constantly fighting against. I'm running out of time. I wish I had more time. Time is slipping away. These phrases create a mental battlefield where time becomes the enemy. But the truth is, time was never against you. It's simply responding to your attention. When you treat time like a threat, begin to live reactively. Always chasing, always rushing, never feeling enough. But when you treat time as an ally, you start to move in harmony with it. You become deliberate, calm, and intentional. You stop racing and start creating. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It happens when you start changing the story you tell yourself about time. Instead of saying, "I don't have time," start saying, "I haven't made time yet." That one shift gives power back to you. It reminds you that time doesn't control you. Choice does. The mindset of time also requires understanding the difference between being busy and being productive. Business is a symptom of a chaotic mind. Productivity is the result of a focused one. You can fill your day with endless activity and still achieve nothing meaningful. Many people confuse movement with progress, but motion without direction is just exhaustion. The productive mindset asks one question: is what I'm doing right now moving me closer to what I value most? If the answer is no, it's not productivity. It's distraction disguised as effort. The greatest waste of time isn't doing nothing, doing the wrong things efficiently. Once you grasp that, you begin to make wiser choices about where your minutes go. Stop glorifying business and start honoring balance. You realize that slowing down to think, to reflect, or to rest isn't laziness. It's strategy. A sharp mind makes better use of time than a restless one. There's also a psychological trap many fall into called the someday mindset. It whispers things like, "Someday I'll start my dream project," or "Someday I'll focus on myself." But someday doesn't exist. It's a mirage created by fear and comfort. The people who make the most of their time don't wait for the perfect moment. They create it. They understand that every great achievement begins with a decision made in an imperfect moment. The mindset of time thrives on action, not excuses. Recognizes that small steps taken now are far more powerful than perfect plans delayed until later. Waiting for motivation is another silent thief of time. Because motivation comes from movement, not the other way around. Once you start, brain begins to believe. Action fuels belief, and belief fuels consistency. Another vital part of the time mindset is learning to live in the present. Too many people waste the now by dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. They carry regrets about what they didn't do and anxiety about what they might not do. But time doesn't exist anywhere except this moment. The past is memory, the future is imagination, and the present is creation. Every minute you spend fully present, engaged, aware, intentional, expands your sense of time. When you focus deeply on what you're doing, time feels slower, richer, and more meaningful. That's why moments of deep flow feel timeless. Your mind stops resisting time and starts partnering with it. The greatest gift you can give yourself is presence, because presence transforms ordinary minutes into extraordinary experiences. Scarcity mindset of time is another invisible barrier. It convinces you that there's never enough. Enough time to rest, enough time to learn, enough time to grow. But the truth is, you always have enough for what truly matters. The problem isn't scarcity, it's misalignment. When your values, goals, and actions are out of sync, time feels tight and stressful. But when they align, life feels spacious, even in a busy day. Who understand this live with calm urgency. They respect time without fearing it. They plan, but they also adapt. They prepare, but they also pause. Because they know that success with time isn't about squeezing more into a day. It's about fitting the right things into it. The mindset of time also embraces imperfection. Too often, we waste precious minutes trying to make everything flawless before we start. The perfect routine, the perfect schedule, the perfect plan. Perfectionism is a time trap. It turns preparation into procrastination and effort into anxiety. The truth is, done is better than perfect. Progress creates clarity. The more you act, the more you learn how to refine your use of time. You don't find the perfect system first, you build it by showing up consistently. Every time you choose action over hesitation, you train your brain to respect time instead of fear it. Fully develop the mindset of time, you must also learn forgiveness, especially for yourself. So many people carry guilt for the time they've wasted, the opportunities they missed, or the days they lost to distraction. But guilt doesn't return lost time, awareness does. Every minute you spend blaming yourself for yesterday is another minute lost today. Instead of regret, choose reflection. Instead of frustration, choose learning. Each wasted minute can teach you how to save 10 more in the future. Time doesn't demand perfection, it rewards intention. As long as you're conscious of how you spend it, you can always begin again. Ultimately, the mindset of time is about ownership, realizing that your minutes are yours, your choices are yours, and your focus is your responsibility. You are not a victim of the clock, you are the artist who decides how to paint each hour. When you change the way you think about time, everything else changes with it. Your habits, your productivity, your peace. You begin to feel less rushed and more centered, reactive and more deliberate. You stop living by deadlines and start living by design. And that is the secret most people miss. Time mastery isn't about control. It's about cooperation. It's about aligning your mind with the rhythm of life instead of fighting against it. Once you develop that mindset, you'll discover something profound. You have more time than you ever imagined, because you've learned to see it differently. You've learned to think like someone who understands that every minute is both a gift and a choice. When your mind finally understands that truth, your life begins to transform. Not through more hours, but through deeper, more meaningful use of the ones you already have. Docs, Chapter 40, The Power of Purpose. Purpose is the compass that gives direction to your time, the invisible force that transforms ordinary effort into meaningful achievement. Without purpose, even the busiest life feels hollow, the longest hours feel wasted. But with purpose, every minute, no matter how small, no matter how ordinary, becomes a step towards something extraordinary. The power of purpose lies in its ability to organize chaos, to bring clarity to confusion, and to turn time from something you spend into something you invest. Purpose gives your minutes meaning and your actions weight. It turns distraction into focus, fatigue into persistence, and routine into ritual. Many people drift through life reacting to what comes their way, constantly busy yet strangely unfulfilled. They fill their calendars but empty their souls because activity without direction is like running on a treadmill. You move, but you never arrive. Purpose changes that. It gives every action a destination, every decision a reason, and every challenge a context. When you have a clear sense of why you're doing what you're doing, your relationship with time transforms completely. You stop chasing everything and start choosing what truly matters. The most powerful people in history didn't have more hours in a day. They simply had a clearer why. Purpose creates a filter through which every minute passes, separating what's essential from what's noise. It gives you the courage to say no to what's trivial and yes to what's meaningful. Without it, you scatter your time in all directions, pulled by the urgency of others instead of guided by the importance of your own goals. With it, you gain focus, energy, and alignment. Begins to flow differently when you live with purpose. It feels slower, richer, more intentional. You no longer measure your days by how much you did, but by how aligned your actions were with what truly matters to you. Purpose gives you power because it gives you clarity, and clarity gives you control. The difference between living aimlessly and living intentionally is not in how much time you have, but in how clearly you understand why you're here and what you're trying to create. Finding purpose doesn't always happen in a single revelation. It's rarely a lightning bolt moment. It's more like uncovering a buried treasure. You discover it piece by piece through reflection, experience, and honesty. Purpose often hides beneath what you love, what you fear, and what you cannot ignore. It speaks through curiosity and passion, through the moments that make you feel alive and the causes that move you to act. Sometimes it's born out of pain. The lessons you've learned, the struggles you've overcome, the things you never want others to suffer again. Purpose is deeply personal, but once you find it, it becomes universal. It connects you to others, fuels your contribution, and gives your time a reason beyond survival. When you wake up with purpose, even the smallest tasks carry weight. You're not just working, you're building something. You're not just existing, you're evolving. One of the greatest traps people fall into is confusing goals with purpose. Goals are destinations, purpose is direction. A goal is something you achieve. Purpose is something you live. You can accomplish a goal and still feel empty if it doesn't align with your deeper why. But when your goals grow out of purpose, every achievement becomes meaningful. For example, earning money can be a goal. Using that money to provide for your family or support a cause turns it into purpose. Finishing a project can be a goal, but creating something that improves lives turns it into purpose. When you align your goals with your purpose, you create harmony between what you want to do and why you want to do it. That alignment gives you an unstoppable kind of energy. The kind that keeps you going when things get hard, when motivation fades, or when results take longer than expected. Purpose is the fuel that keeps your fire alive long after excitement burns out. There's also a time paradox hidden within purpose. When you live with it, time feels both faster and fuller. Stop counting hours because you start counting impact. You experience what psychologists call flow more often. That state where you're so absorbed in what you're doing that you lose all sense of time. That's not a coincidence. Flow happens when your actions match your values, when your skills meet your challenges, and when your work reflects your purpose. You become one with what you're doing, and time ceases to be a limitation. It becomes an ally, your full attention. That's why people who live with purpose often accomplish more than those who don't. They're not fighting time, they're collaborating with it. Minute becomes a moment of creation, of alignment, of meaning. Purpose also changes how you handle adversity. When life gets difficult, without purpose tend to give up, while those with purpose find strength in struggle. A person driven by purpose sees pain not as punishment, as preparation. They understand that challenges refine character and deepen commitment. When you know why you're doing something, obstacles become detours instead of dead ends. Time spent struggling is not wasted. It's invested. It's shaping you, preparing you for greater impact. Purpose transforms the way you interpret your experiences. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That single question turns suffering into wisdom and time into growth. To harness the power of purpose, you must slow down long enough to listen, not to the noise of the world, but to the whispers of your own soul. Ask yourself what kind of difference you want to make, what kind of person you want to become, what kind of legacy you want to leave. Purpose doesn't demand perfection, it demands presence. It asks you to live with intention, to make choices that align with your values, to stop wasting minutes on things that don't nourish your mission. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve your purpose, you say no to something that could. The clearer your purpose, the easier it becomes to manage your time because your priorities become self-evident. You stop chasing what everyone else is doing and start designing your days around what truly matters to you. The beauty of purpose is that it gives meaning to both action and stillness. It tells you when to push and when to pause, when to work and when to rest. It reminds you that time spent in reflection, rest, or gratitude is not wasted. It's fueling your next step. Purpose creates balance because it connects the inner world of intention with the outer world of action. It ensures that your life is not just full of motion, but full of meaning. And meaning is what makes time valuable. Without it, you can live long and still feel like you never really lived. But with it, a short life can shine brighter than centuries. So, as you move forward, ask yourself daily, is what I'm doing right now aligned with my purpose? If the answer is yes, keep going. You're living intentionally. If the answer is no, pause, redirect, and realign. Because time spent in alignment with purpose multiplies in value. Every minute becomes a building block of fulfillment. When you live with purpose, you stop counting time and start making time count. You stop chasing success and start creating significance. You stop existing in fragments and start living as a whole. That is the true power of purpose. It transforms your minutes into meaning, goals into growth, and your life into a legacy that outlives time itself. For Chapter 50, the architecture of your day. Your day is the smallest complete unit of your life, a miniature version of your destiny. The way you design it determines the shape of your future. Every sunrise gives you a new blueprint, a chance to rebuild, redesign, realign your time with your purpose. The architecture of your day is more than a schedule. It is the framework that supports your dreams, invisible structure that holds your habits, energy, and focus together. Most people drift through their days without design, letting time happen to them instead of shaping it intentionally. They wake up reacting to alarms, messages, and responsibilities, already feeling behind before the day has even begun. But if you learn to become the architect of your day, if you take control of the design instead of leaving it to chance, you'll find that time begins to serve you instead of slipping away from you. The truth is that success is not built in years or even months, it is built in days. The way you live one ordinary day, multiplied over time, becomes the pattern of your life. Your daily structure is the bridge between vision and reality, and the stronger that structure is, the smoother your journey becomes. Every great day begins with intention. The morning is your foundation. What you do in your first hour sets the tone for everything that follows. When you wake up with clarity instead of chaos, focus instead of frenzy, you activate your inner architect, the part of you that decides what kind of day you're going to build. Begin your mornings not by diving into the noise of the world, but by grounding yourself in silence, reflection, or gratitude. Even a few minutes of stillness can give your mind space to organize your thoughts and align your energy. Think of your morning as the design phase. This is when you sketch the blueprint for the day ahead. Ask yourself, what do I want to create today? Who do I want to be today? These questions turn a routine morning into a ritual of purpose. They give direction to your time before distractions take over. Whether it's journaling, stretching, reading, or simply breathing deeply while the world is quiet, your morning habits are like the first lines of a plan that shape how the entire structure of your day will stand. Once your foundation is set, the next layer of architecture is focus. Deciding how you'll build your hours. Every day contains moments of high energy and moments of fatigue, and successful people design their time around this natural rhythm instead of fighting it. You cannot pour the same level of attention into every task, so you must prioritize wisely. The first few hours of the day often hold your peak energy, creativity, and clarity. That's when you should tackle the tasks that matter most, the ones that move your goals forward. Save the smaller, routine tasks for later, when your energy naturally dips. This design principle, matching your time to your energy, is one of the secrets to lasting productivity, keeps your day balanced and prevents burnout. Remember, the goal is not to cram every hour with activity, but to align your effort with your energy so that each minute yields its maximum value. Another essential element in the architecture of your day is transition. The spaces between your tasks. Just as a building needs hallways between rooms, your day needs pauses between activities. Most people rush from one thing to the next without allowing their minds to reset, which leads to stress, mistakes, and mental fatigue. But when you intentionally design transition moments, a short walk, a few deep breaths, or a quick stretch, you create mental clarity and emotional balance. These micro pauses act like reinforcements in the walls of your schedule, giving your mind strength and stability. They remind you that being productive isn't about constant motion, but about maintaining momentum with mindfulness. Distraction is like a crack in your architecture. No matter how beautifully your day is designed, one careless distraction can weaken the entire structure. To protect your design, you must create boundaries. Invisible walls that separate your focus from the noise of the world. This means silencing notifications, setting specific times to check messages, and training those around you to respect your focused hours. You can't build anything meaningful if you're constantly interrupted. The most successful architects of time treat focus as sacred. They guard it fiercely because they understand that their attention is the true currency of creation. Design your workspace to support your focus. Keep it clean, organized, and free from unnecessary distractions. Environment you work in either strengthens or sabotages your daily design. As the day progresses, energy naturally wanes. This is where many people let their structure collapse. But if your day is well architected, you've already planned for this. Use your afternoon for maintenance tasks, emails, errands, or lighter work that doesn't demand deep concentration. Don't fight your energy, flow with it. Remember, balance is part of good design. You wouldn't build every wall in a structure at the same height. Create variations for strength and beauty. The same goes for your time. Build variation into your day. Moments of focus, moments of movement, moments of rest. This rhythm sustains your energy and keeps your productivity natural, not forced. Evening is the closing phase of your design, the part where you review, reinforce, and restore. Just as an architect inspects the structure at the end of construction, you should take time to reflect at the end of your day. Ask yourself what went well, what you learned, and what can be improved tomorrow. This reflection turns every day into a lesson. It helps you refine your design continuously, evolving it into something stronger and more efficient. Evening should also be a time of restoration, a conscious transition from doing to being. Disconnect from devices, spend time with loved ones, or simply enjoy silence. A well-designed evening doesn't just end the day well, it sets the stage for a better tomorrow. Sleep, too, is part of your architecture, the invisible pillar that holds everything else together. Without proper rest, your structure weakens no matter how well it's built. The architecture of your day is not meant to be rigid but flexible, adaptable to life's changes and challenges. A good architect doesn't panic when the plan shifts, they adjust with creativity and purpose. The same applies to your time. Some days will unfold perfectly, others will crumble. That's part of the process. The goal is not to control every minute, but to live with awareness in every moment. If your day falls apart, rebuild it. Each sunrise gives you new materials, chances, new designs. When you live by design instead of default, your days stop blending into one another. They begin to carry identity, structure, meaning. You start to feel in charge of your time instead of victimized by it. Your productivity rises, but more importantly, your peace deepens. Because a well-architected day is not about squeezing in more tasks. It's about creating space for what matters most, about balancing ambition with alignment, progress with peace, and effort with ease. When you become the architect of your own day, you stop living as a passenger of time and start steering your life with intention. You build days that reflect your values. Those days build a life that reflects your vision. Time will always move, but how you design your days determines whether it moves you forward or leaves you behind. Build wisely, for the architecture of your day becomes the architecture of your destiny. Chapter 6c. The discipline of consistency. Consistency is the quiet architect of greatness, the invisible force that transforms small, repeated actions into extraordinary results. It is not brilliance that builds success, nor luck that sustains it, but the discipline to keep showing up, day after day, with commitment and purpose. The truth about achievement is simple yet often overlooked. Success is never built in a single moment of inspiration but in countless moments of discipline. Discipline of consistency is what separates those who dream from those who do. It is the bridge between intention and accomplishment, the rhythm that turns effort into excellence. Anyone can start strong when motivation is high, but only the consistent continue when it fades. Motivation is a spark, but consistency is the flame that keeps burning even in the wind. It is not about perfection. It is about persistence. You may stumble, slow down, or even pause, but if you keep coming back, you build momentum. The law of consistency is universal. Small efforts, repeated regularly, compound into results that once seemed impossible. Just as a river carves through stone not by force, but by persistence, too does consistent effort shape destiny. Every minute of your discipline is a brick in the foundation of your success. Greatest misconception people hold about consistency is that it must always be grand or intense. In truth, it is the ordinary that becomes extraordinary through repetition. The writer who writes a single page every day, the athlete who trains even when uninspired, the learner who studies a little each morning, these are the builders of mastery. The results are rarely visible at first, is where most people quit. They mistake silence for stagnation, believing that progress should always shout. But real progress whispers, happens quietly, beneath the surface, like roots deepening before a tree breaks through the soil. The discipline of consistency teaches patience. The ability to keep sowing even when the harvest is unseen. Each day of consistent effort compounds invisibly until suddenly, What once felt impossible becomes effortless. That's the magic of compound growth. Small improvements, sustained over time, create monumental transformation. Consistency requires structure, and structure requires self-respect. You must value your time enough to protect it, even from your own excuses. Excuses are the enemies of consistency. They come dressed as logic, but are rooted in fear and comfort. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. It doesn't matter if I skip one day. Each excuse seems harmless, but together, they erode discipline like waves eroding a cliff. To be consistent, you must learn to keep promises to yourself, even when no one is watching. That is true integrity. Doing what you said you would do long after the feeling in which you said it has passed. Discipline begins with choice, but consistency is maintained through accountability. The most effective people hold themselves accountable to their purpose, not their emotions. They do not wait to feel ready, because they understand that readiness is a product of action, not a prerequisite for it. Easy to be consistent when life is calm, but the real test comes in chaos. When distractions multiply, when challenges arise, when progress slows, that's when consistency transforms from habit into character. The disciplined person adapts without abandoning their purpose. If circumstances change, they adjust their method but not their mission. They understand that life's unpredictability is not an excuse to stop, but an opportunity to strengthen resilience. Consistency is less about rigidity and more about adaptability. Finding ways to stay aligned even when the path bends. If you cannot do everything, progress, however small, is still progress. A single step forward, taken daily, will outrun 1,000 leaps taken sporadically. The discipline of consistency is also an act of trust. Trusting that what you do today will matter tomorrow. This faith is essential because consistency often feels unrewarding in the short term. Results come slowly, and the world rarely applauds quiet persistence. But remember, this success doesn't happen all at once, and it doesn't announce itself before it arrives. It accumulates silently, waiting for the day when effort meets opportunity. Then, to everyone else, it looks like you succeeded overnight. But you'll know the truth. It was consistency that built it, one deliberate minute at a time. The journey of success is less like a sprint and more like a sunrise. Darkness lingers until, suddenly, the light breaks through. To cultivate consistency, you must design an environment that supports it. Willpower alone is unreliable. Even the most disciplined minds falter when surrounded by distraction. Simplify your life to remove friction between intention and action. Lay out your tools before you begin. Schedule your priorities before the world schedules them for you, and eliminate unnecessary decisions that drain your focus. Consistency thrives in clarity and routine. When your environment makes the right choice easy, consistency becomes effortless. Moreover, track your progress, not as a judgment, but as a mirror. Seeing your efforts accumulate reinforces your belief that your time is not being wasted. Progress breeds motivation, and motivation sustains discipline. Another truth about consistency is that it doesn't demand perfection. We'll have off days. You will face setbacks. You will fail sometimes. But consistency is not broken by failure. It is defined by recovery. Missing one day is human. Giving up because of it is surrender. When you stumble, restart. Don't let one missed moment become a habit of quitting. The most successful people in the world are not those who never fall, but those who never stay down. Every comeback strengthens your consistency muscle, proving that discipline is not about being flawless, but about being faithful. The difference between the average and the exceptional is not in talent, but in tenacity. The ability to begin again and again without losing heart. Consistency also requires emotional discipline. The mind resists repetition because it craves novelty, yet mastery lives in monotony. The musician plays the same scales daily, the athlete repeats the same drills, the entrepreneur refines the same strategy. All because they understand that mastery is hidden in the mundane. When you learn to find satisfaction in the process, instead of chasing excitement, you unlock a deeper level of consistency. Realize that showing up is not a chore but a privilege, a chance to build something lasting. Each repetition is a declaration of faith in your future self, a vote of confidence that the time you're investing will pay off. In the end, the discipline of consistency is the art of becoming reliable to yourself. It teaches you that time rewards those who respect it, that effort compounds when you nurture it, and that the person you become is built from what you repeatedly do. Consistency is how you prove your commitment to your dreams, not to others but to yourself. When you look back, it won't be the grand gestures or occasional bursts of effort that define your success. It will be the ordinary days you chose to persist when no one noticed, the moments you stayed steady when quitting felt easier, the minutes you gave your best simply because it was who you decided to be. So, keep showing up when progress feels invisible, even when effort feels endless. Remember this truth: every consistent action is a seed planted in the soil of time, or later, the harvest will come. Consistency does not just build success. It builds character, confidence, and legacy. Minutes into milestones and ordinary days into extraordinary lives. Chapter 70. The Mindset of Productivity. Productivity is not merely about doing more. It is about thinking better, choosing wiser, and aligning your actions with purpose. The mindset of productivity begins long before the first task of the day. It starts in the unseen world of thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes. Many people chase productivity as if it were a technique, a set of tools, or a list of hacks. True productivity is a mindset, a way of seeing time, energy, and effort as resources to be invested, not wasted. Is about creating flow between intention and execution, about transforming your focus into force. The difference between a productive person and a busy one lies not in how much they do, but in how deliberately they do it. The busy person fills their hours, the productive person fulfills their purpose. To embody the mindset of productivity, you must first understand that your time is not infinite, and therefore, choice you make carries weight. Productivity begins with respect for your minutes, with the awareness that once a moment passes, it can never be reclaimed. This respect gives birth to discipline, clarity, and focus. It helps you filter distractions, prioritize impact, measuring success by activity alone. The first pillar of the productivity mindset is clarity. You cannot be productive without knowing what matters most. Clarity turns chaos into order. It simplifies decision-making and reduces wasted effort. Morning, a productive mind asks, what are the few things that, if done today, make everything else easier or unnecessary? This question acts like a compass, pointing your attention toward meaningful work instead of trivial business. Most people scatter their energy across too many directions, achieving little depth in any. But when you gain clarity of purpose and priority, your effort gains power. You begin to understand that doing less, with more intention, often produces more impact than doing more without direction. Clarity doesn't come from thinking harder. It comes from thinking quieter, from taking moments to reflect, plan, and realign. The productive mindset values stillness as much as action because it knows that pause precedes precision. The second pillar is focus, the ability to protect your attention like the treasure it is. In the modern world, distraction is the great thief of progress. Ping, message, or random thought fragments your focus, and with it, your productivity. The mindset of productivity treats attention as sacred, understands that where your focus goes, your time follows. Productive people build rituals that reinforce focus. They set boundaries, remove temptations, and design environments that minimize mental clutter. They practice single tasking in a world obsessed with multitasking because they know that depth, not speed, creates mastery. When you train your mind to immerse fully in one task at a time, you produce work of higher quality and greater satisfaction. Focus is not about force, it is about flow, entering a state where your mind and task merge, where time feels suspended, and where productivity feels effortless. But this state cannot exist in chaos. It demands preparation, intention, and the humility to say no to what doesn't serve your greater goals. Third pillar of the productivity mindset is energy management. You cannot be truly productive if you are constantly depleted. Many people confuse exhaustion with effectiveness, believing that working longer means working better. But productivity is not measured by the length of your day, it is measured by the strength of your energy. The productive mindset understands that time management and energy management are inseparable. You must know when your mind is sharpest, when your body is strongest, and when your spirit is most alive. And then schedule your most important work accordingly. Self-awareness transforms output. It also recognizes the power of recovery. Rest is not laziness, it is preparation. Sleep, nutrition, movement, and mindfulness are not luxuries, but pillars of sustainable productivity. Without them, your mind becomes foggy, your focus weak, and your motivation fragile. The productive person values renewal as much as action, understanding that productivity is a marathon, not a sprint. The pillar is intentionality, the conscious decision to act with purpose. A productive mindset doesn't drift, it decides. Every task, meeting, every moment is approached with a question. Does this align with my goals? If the answer is no, it is either eliminated or delegated. This principle, the power of saying no, is what gives productivity its strength. Many people are unproductive not because they lack time, because they give it away too easily. They say yes to everything and everyone, diluting their energy across tasks that have no connection to their higher purpose. Productive mindset understands that every yes is also a no to something else. To say yes wisely, you must know what you stand for. Productivity is not about control, it's about choice. It is the art of consciously directing your time toward things that matter most, while letting go of the rest. The fifth pillar of the mindset of productivity is adaptability. The most well-planned day can be disrupted by the unexpected, and rigid minds crumble where flexible ones thrive. Productive person doesn't seek perfection. They seek progress. They treat challenges not as interruptions but as opportunities to refine their systems and strengthen their mindset. When plans change, pivot with grace, keeping momentum alive. Adaptability requires emotional intelligence, the ability to stay calm under pressure and to see beyond frustration into possibility. Productive mind doesn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but rather, "How can I use this?" This shift in perspective transforms obstacles into instruments of growth. It ensures that even when time seems lost, learning is gained. Another crucial element of the productivity mindset is self-compassion. Productivity without compassion becomes tyranny, an endless chase that leads to burnout. To be sustainably productive, you must treat yourself as a human, not a machine. This means recognizing that consistency sometimes requires rest, that progress sometimes means pausing, that self-worth is not measured by output. A healthy mindset knows when to push and when to pause, celebrates effort as much as achievement, and finds satisfaction in progress, not perfection. True productivity feels peaceful, not pressured. It is the calm confidence that you are moving in the right direction, even if not every day goes perfectly. Ultimately, the mindset of productivity is rooted in meaning. You can master every tool, strategy, and technique, but if your work lacks purpose, productivity will feel empty. Purpose gives productivity its soul. It transforms effort into expression, time into transformation. When you connect what you do to why you do it, every task, no matter how small, gains value. The mindset of productivity, therefore, not about squeezing more into your hours, but about expanding the value within them. It is the harmony of focus, clarity, energy, and purpose, all working together in alignment. When you cultivate this mindset, you stop chasing time and start creating it. You realize that productivity is not something you achieve. It's something you become. It's a reflection of your choices, your awareness, and your respect for the present moment. A productive mindset turns every minute into a tool of growth, every challenge into a teacher, every day into an opportunity for progress. And when this mindset becomes your natural state, your life begins to shift. From chaos to clarity, from business to balance, and from mere activity to meaningful achievement. Because in the end, the most productive people are not those who do the most, but those who make every minute matter the most. Chapter 80, The Art of Focusing. Focus is the invisible thread that weaves purpose, time, and energy into achievement. It is the art of giving your full attention to one thing at a time, of silencing the noise of the world long enough to listen to the whisper of what truly matters. In an age where distractions compete endlessly for our attention, focus has become both rare and powerful. A superpower in a world of scattered minds. The art of focus is not just about concentration, it's about connection. It's about connecting deeply with the task before you, with the moment you're in, and with the purpose behind what you're doing. To master focus is to master yourself. It requires not just the control of attention, but the discipline of intention. The human mind is like a lens. What it focuses on expands, neglects fades away. If your focus is divided, your potential is diluted. But when your focus is unified, your potential becomes unstoppable. The greatest achievers in every field, artists, leaders, scientists, athletes, are not necessarily the most talented, but the most focused. They have learned the art of saying no, of channeling their time and energy into fewer things, done with greater depth. Focus is not about doing everything right. It's about doing the right things with everything you've got. To understand the art of focus, you must first recognize that attention is finite. Every day, you wake up with a limited amount of mental energy. Your attention budget, the way you spend it, determines the quality of your results. Most people spend their attention recklessly, allowing distractions, notifications, and noise to steal their mental currency. They live in a constant state of partial focus, thinking about one thing while doing another, fully present in either. This state of divided attention creates stress, fatigue, and dissatisfaction. The unfocused mind feels busy but accomplishes little. The focused mind, on the other hand, experiences clarity, flow, and fulfillment. It's not that focused people have more hours in a day, they simply make better use of the ones they have. They treat their focus as a sacred resource, guarding it with awareness and intention. They understand that multitasking is a myth. The brain doesn't truly handle multiple tasks at once, switches rapidly between them, losing energy and accuracy with every shift. Focus demands simplicity. One task, one moment, one purpose at a time. The first step toward mastering focus is awareness, knowing what steals it and what strengthens it. Distractions are not just external, they are often internal. The mind's constant chatter, the craving for novelty, the habit of seeking instant gratification, these are internal distractions that quietly erode focus. The art of focus begins with calming the mind, training it to resist the pull of every impulse. This is why mindfulness and meditation are powerful tools for building focus. They teach you to observe your thoughts without reacting, to return your attention gently but firmly to the present moment. Just as a muscle grows through repetition, focus strengthens each time you bring your wandering mind back to the task at hand. Over time, this practice rewires your brain for sustained attention, helping you enter states of deep work, periods of intense concentration where creativity and productivity soar. Work is the highest form of focus, a state where time seems to slow down, where you lose awareness of everything except what you're creating or solving. In deep work, you are not just doing, you are becoming one with your task. Deep work requires protection. You must build an environment that minimizes interruptions, both digital and physical. Turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs, and create visual order in your workspace. The brain mirrors its environment. Clutter outside creates clutter inside. Design your surroundings for focus, and your mind will follow. Establish boundaries that communicate to others when you are unavailable. Treat your focus time as sacred, because it is. Every minute of deep work can produce results that hours of distracted effort never could. Another vital aspect of focus is prioritization. You cannot focus on everything, so you must choose what deserves your best attention. Productivity without focus is just motion without meaning. To focus well, you must know what truly matters, your most important goals, values, responsibilities. Ask yourself, if I could only achieve 3 things today, what would they be? This question acts as a mental filter, helping you separate the essential from the trivial. Once you've identified your priorities, give them your full attention before moving on to anything else. The act of focusing deeply on fewer things produces a ripple effect. Your work becomes more meaningful, your results more impactful, your confidence stronger. Focus is a declaration of importance. It tells the world and yourself what truly matters to you. However, mastering focus also requires managing energy. You cannot force focus when your body and mind are depleted. Fatigue is the enemy of attention. Sleep, nutrition, hydration, and breaks are not distractions from focus. They are the foundation of it. The brain consumes enormous energy when concentrating. Without proper care, it burns out. This is why even the most focused individuals build cycles of work and rest. They understand that sustainable focus comes from balance, not force. Short, intentional breaks help the mind reset, allowing you to return to your work sharper and more creative. When you respect your energy, your focus respects you back. The important is emotional focus. The ability to stay grounded in purpose, even when emotions try to hijack your attention. Anger, fear, anxiety scatter focus, while calmness and confidence strengthen it. Emotional mastery is therefore part of the art of focus. When you learn to manage your emotional state, You free your mind from internal turbulence. The key is to cultivate emotional awareness, to pause before reacting, to breathe before deciding, and to remember your purpose before responding. Focus is not just a mental act, it is an emotional discipline. It's about directing your heart as much as your mind. Focus also demands patience. World addicted to speed, patience is rare, yet it is the soil in which focus grows. True mastery takes time, and the ability to stay engaged without immediate reward is the mark of deep focus. When you're fully present in what you're doing, you begin to appreciate the process itself rather than rushing toward the outcome. The greatest artists, thinkers, and innovators spend countless hours in focused solitude because they understand that great work cannot be rushed. Each minute of patient focus compounds, creating depth, insight, and innovation. Finally, the art of focus is not about exclusion, it's about alignment. It's not about blocking the world out, but about aligning your inner and outer worlds so that your attention flows naturally toward your goals. When your values, priorities, and actions are in harmony, focus becomes effortless. You no longer have to force yourself to concentrate. You are drawn to your work because it reflects who you are. This is the highest level of focus. When your work becomes an expression of your essence, and time itself becomes your ally, focus transforms ordinary minutes into extraordinary progress. Is the difference between living reactively and living intentionally. Every time you choose to focus, reclaim your power, the power to decide what shapes your mind, what fills your days, and what defines your life. So, practice the art of focus daily. Simplify your surroundings, calm your mind, clarify your priorities, and protect your attention like the treasure it is. Because in the end, your life becomes whatever you consistently focus on. If you focus on distractions, your days will scatter into fragments. But if you focus on purpose, it will merge into mastery, and your time will become a masterpiece. Chapter 90. The Value of Patience. Patience is the hidden strength behind all meaningful achievement, the quiet force that transforms time from an enemy into an ally. In a world obsessed with speed, where people chase instant success and immediate results, patience has become one of the rarest virtues. Yet it remains one of the most powerful. The value of patience lies in its ability to steady the mind, strengthen the spirit, and give space for greatness to unfold. Success that comes too quickly often fades just as fast, but what is built with patience endures. Patience is not passivity. It is not waiting idly for things to happen. It is active endurance, the ability to remain steadfast, focused, and calm while progress unfolds in its natural rhythm. It is understanding that some things cannot be rushed. Growth, healing, mastery, and transformation all require time. Just as a seed cannot be forced to bloom overnight, your dreams cannot be forced into existence before they are ready. Patience gives time the respect it deserves, recognizing that every moment, even those that seem stagnant, is part of a larger process. When you cultivate patience, you stop fighting against time and begin flowing with it, allowing life to reveal its wisdom in its own perfect pace. To understand the value of patience, you must first recognize that everything meaningful in life grows in seasons. There are seasons for planting, nurturing, waiting, and harvesting, and patience is the bridge that connects them. Those who fail to appreciate this rhythm often give up during the waiting phase, realizing how close they were to breakthrough. Impatience is the thief of progress. It makes you abandon the journey just before success begins to show. It convinces you that stillness is failure and that delay is denial, when in truth, both are often divine preparation. period of waiting carries purpose. It teaches resilience, deepens character, and reveals what truly matters. The impatient seek shortcuts. Shortcuts cut short not just time but depth. Patience, on the other hand, allows you to build roots before you reach for the sky. It ensures that when growth comes, it is strong enough to last. Life rewards those who know how to wait wisely, not with frustration, but with faith, not with passivity, but with perseverance. Patience also refines your perspective on progress. It teaches you that success is not a straight line but a journey of cycles. Sometimes forward, sometimes backward, but always moving toward growth. Impatient mind wants to see results now, but patience understands that progress often happens beneath the surface. Think of bamboo for years, shows no visible growth, its roots spreading quietly underground. Then, suddenly, it shoots up to full height in just a few weeks. Most people quit before their bamboo moment arrives because they can't see what's happening beneath the soil. But patience sees beyond the surface, trusts the unseen. It believes that every effort, every lesson, every setback is preparing the foundation for eventual success. This trust turns frustration into faith and waiting into wisdom. Patience doesn't just slow you down, it strengthens you. It teaches endurance. Endurance creates excellence. The value of patience extends beyond achievement. It influences your relationships, your emotions, peace of mind. Impatience breeds conflict because it demands control. It wants others to change, situations to shift, results to come according to its timeline. Patience, however, creates space for understanding. It allows others to be human, situations to evolve, and life to unfold without force. In relationships, patience becomes compassion. In challenges, it becomes calm. In uncertainty, it becomes faith. It teaches you to listen deeply instead of reacting quickly, to respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively. When you practice patience, no longer live in constant tension with reality, you move with it. You stop seeing time as an obstacle and begin to see it as a teacher. Every delay becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more grounded. True patience also transforms your relationship with failure. The impatient view failure as an endpoint, while the patient see it as a step, a necessary part of the process. Patience allows you to learn from mistakes instead of being crushed by them. It gives you the grace to keep going even when things fall apart. The patient mind doesn't rush to escape discomfort, it learns from it. It understands that discomfort is the birthplace of growth. Every struggle refines skill, every challenge strengthens character, and every delay tests faith. Without patience, you give up in the discomfort of growth, mistaking it for failure. With patience, you realize that persistence through discomfort is what transforms potential into power. Success belongs not to those who never stumble but to those who keep walking, no matter how slow, with faith that each step still matters. Patience is also the foundation of creativity and mastery. Great artists, inventors, and thinkers have always known that true creation takes time. A masterpiece cannot be rushed. Ideas need space to breathe, evolve, and mature. The impatient creator demands inspiration on command, while the patient one trusts the process, allowing moments of rest, reflection, and refinement to shape their work. The same applies to mastery in any field. Repetition and time forge skill. Each hour of practice, each moment of reflection, an investment that compounds quietly. Patience keeps you steady through the invisible stages of mastery. The long periods of effort that show no immediate reward. It keeps you from abandoning the path too early, reminding you that all great things take time. But perhaps the greatest gift of patience is peace. When you are patient, you live in harmony with time instead of in conflict with it. Your full attention, you stop feeling like you're running against life and start feeling like you're moving with it. You stop demanding that everything happen now and start trusting that everything will happen when it's meant to. This trust brings stillness to the heart and clarity to the mind. You begin to enjoy the journey instead of obsessing over the destination. You start to see beauty in the process itself, in the small steps, the silent growth, the slow unfolding of your life story. Patience teaches you to find contentment in progress, not just completion. It reminds you that waiting is not wasting, it is working in unseen ways. The age of instant gratification, patience becomes a form of power. The power to remain calm when others panic, steady when others rush, and faithful when others give up. It gives you control over yourself, even when you have no control over circumstances. That self-control is the essence of strength. The impatient are slaves to emotion and impulse, but the patient are masters of both. They understand that great things are built minute by minute, layer by layer, through consistent effort, guided by calm belief. Patience makes you wise because it gives you space to think. It makes you strong because it teaches you endurance, and it makes you peaceful because it frees you from the illusion that life must move faster to be meaningful. So, learn to value patience, not as a passive act of waiting, but as a powerful act of trusting. Trusting yourself, trusting the process, trusting that time will deliver what effort and faith deserve. Every delay is not denial, it is development. Every slow season is not stagnation, preparation. Life is not measured by how quickly you move but by how deeply you grow. Be patient with your dreams, with your growth, and with yourself. For the river doesn't rush, yet it carves through mountains. The tree doesn't hurry, yet it reaches the sky. The same is true for you. When you live with patience, your time becomes a canvas for greatness. Journey becomes a masterpiece painted not in haste, but in harmony with time itself. Chapter 10d. The Power of Discipline. Discipline is the silent architect of success, the invisible force that transforms ambition into achievement, and dreams into tangible reality. It is the bridge between intention and accomplishment, between who you are and who you can become. The power of discipline lies not in the grand gestures or the bursts of motivation, but in the quiet, consistent choices made day after day. It is waking up when you'd rather sleep, working when you'd rather rest, and choosing purpose over comfort. Discipline is the art of doing what must be done even when you don't feel like doing it. Is the fuel that drives progress long after the fire of inspiration has faded. Motivation is fleeting. It burns bright but short. But discipline is enduring. It is the steady flame that lights your path through both ease and adversity. Every great achievement in history, every invention, discovery, and masterpiece was not merely the result of inspiration, but of relentless discipline. Those who master discipline understand that success is not an event, it is a habit, built minute by minute through consistent effort, sacrifice, control. At its core, discipline is about self-mastery, the ability to govern your impulses, emotions, and desires in pursuit of a higher goal. Most people lose not because they lack talent, but because they lack control. The undisciplined mind seeks immediate gratification. It wants comfort now, reward now, success now. But discipline understands that real success is earned over time, through repetition and resilience. It resists the temptation of shortcuts and embraces the process. Knows that every minute spent in focused effort is a brick laid in the foundation of greatness. Discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. It frees you from the control of impulses, from the chaos of inconsistency, and from the regret that comes from wasted potential. When you live with discipline, you no longer need to rely on fleeting motivation. Your habits carry you forward even when your emotions resist. That is the true power of discipline. It turns effort into instinct, struggle into strength, and consistency into success. Discipline begins in the mind. It starts with a decision, a promise to yourself that you will stay true to your goals regardless of the circumstances. The disciplined mind is not ruled by feelings. It is guided by commitment. It understands that feelings are temporary, but outcomes are permanent. When you act only when you feel inspired, your progress will always be inconsistent. But when you act based on discipline, your progress becomes inevitable. This is why the most successful people in every field create routines and systems, because discipline thrives on structure. Routine removes the need for decision-making, allowing consistency to replace hesitation. Whether it's exercising, studying, working, or creating, discipline transforms effort into habit, and habit into identity. You no longer have to force yourself to do what's right. It becomes who you are. Power of discipline also lies in its ability to sustain focus. In a world of endless distractions, discipline acts as a shield that protects your attention. It gives you the strength to say no. No to procrastination, no to temptation, to the noise that pulls you away from purpose. Every time you resist distraction, you strengthen your mental muscles. Like any skill, discipline grows with use. Each small act of control compounds, building resilience and self-trust. When you keep the promises you make to yourself, build confidence. When you break them, you build doubt. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's choosing long-term growth over short-term pleasure, because you know you're worth the effort. It's saying, I will not quit just because it's hard, and proving it through consistency. Discipline is also deeply tied to time. How you use it, value it, and respect it. Every disciplined person understands that time is both a resource and a responsibility. Each minute wasted is a minute of potential lost forever. The disciplined individual treats time like gold, managing it with intention, planning it with precision, and using it with purpose. They don't wait for the right time, because they know that time is neutral. It only becomes meaningful through action. Discipline teaches you to do now what others postpone, to prepare when others delay, and to persist when others stop. Over time, small differences compound into monumental results. While others are busy wishing, the disciplined are busy working. And when success arrives, it is not luck that brought it. It is the quiet power of consistency. However, discipline is not about rigidity or perfection, about balance and persistence. True discipline allows flexibility but never excuses. It understands that failure is part of the process, not the end of it. The disciplined person doesn't quit after slipping once. They correct, recalibrate, and continue. Discipline is forgiving but firm. It demands accountability but allows learning. It's not about never falling, it's about never staying down. Each failure becomes fuel, each setback a lesson. In this way, discipline transforms obstacles into opportunities. When you are disciplined, fear hard times. You use them to grow stronger. Adversity becomes training for greatness. Discipline also builds character. It teaches humility, patience, and integrity. It teaches you to honor your word, to show up even when no one is watching, to give your best effort whether or not recognition follows. This kind of discipline builds trust in yourself and from others. People respect those who are reliable, those who can be counted on to do what they say they'll do. And that reliability creates opportunities, partnerships, respect that talent alone cannot earn. The disciplined person doesn't need to talk about their goals. Their consistency speaks louder than words. Discipline gives your actions credibility and your dreams a backbone. Another profound power of discipline is its connection to freedom. It might sound paradoxical, but discipline creates freedom. The freedom to live life on your own terms. When you are disciplined with your health, you gain the freedom of energy and longevity. When you are disciplined with your finances, you gain the freedom of choice and stability. When you are disciplined with your time, you gain the freedom to pursue purpose. Lack of discipline leads to dependence. Dependence on circumstances, on emotions, on external motivation. But discipline gives you control. It lets you design your life instead of drifting through it. Freedom without discipline is chaos. Discipline without freedom is rigidity. The true balance is found when discipline becomes the tool through which freedom is achieved. The journey to mastering discipline is not easy. It requires awareness, effort, and persistence. But every moment you practice it, you grow stronger. Start small, wake up when you say you will, keep your word, finish what you start. Each small act of discipline builds momentum. And once momentum takes over, discipline stops feeling like restriction and starts feeling like empowerment. You begin to crave the structure that moves you forward. Take pride in the effort itself. That's when you realize that discipline is not a burden. It is a gift. It doesn't limit you, liberates you from your own limitations. In the end, discipline is the heartbeat of all success. It is the rhythm that turns chaos into order, into plans and plans into accomplishments. Without discipline, talent is wasted, potential is lost, and time is squandered. But with discipline, ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things. It is the great equalizer. Anyone can cultivate it, and those who do will rise. Discipline may demand sacrifice, but what it gives in return, strength, respect, mastery, and fulfillment, is priceless. So, embrace the power of discipline. Let it shape your habits, guide your actions, and steady your spirit. Every day, choose consistency over comfort, over ease, and commitment over excuse. Because the disciplined life is not about perfection, it's about progress. Every minute you live with discipline is a minute spent building the life you were destined to live. Chapter 11. The Strength of Consistency. Consistency is the quiet rhythm of greatness, the unseen force that transforms small, repeated actions into extraordinary results. It is the discipline of showing up day after day regardless of how you feel, how much progress you see, how many obstacles stand in your way. The strength of consistency lies in its simplicity. It doesn't demand perfection, only persistence. It asks for steady effort, not spectacular bursts. Many people start strong, fueled by excitement and inspiration. Few continue long enough to see real transformation. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve is not brilliance or luck. It is consistency. Success is rarely the result of one massive leap. It is the product of thousands of small, consistent steps taken in the same direction. Like water shaping stone or the sun rising every morning, consistency works quietly but powerfully, building momentum until the impossible becomes inevitable. Every minute spent in consistent effort compounds, turning time into an ally instead of an enemy. When you master consistency, you master the art of progress, because even slow progress, when sustained, becomes unstoppable. Consistency is not glamorous. It does not crave attention or praise. It is the daily decision to do what matters, even when it feels mundane or unrewarding. Most people underestimate its power because they crave instant gratification. They want results today, recognition now, success overnight. But consistency teaches a deeper truth, that greatness grows in silence, nurtured by repetition and patience. The athlete who trains every morning, the writer who writes every day, the entrepreneur who refines their craft. None of them see immediate results. But each day, they build strength, skill, resilience layer by layer until one day the world calls them talented or lucky, unaware of the years of unseen effort behind the success. Consistency is the hidden ingredient of every masterpiece. It is the bridge between effort and excellence. Without it, even the best intentions fade into frustration. With it, even small efforts create miracles. Strength of consistency is rooted in the principle of compound growth. Every action you repeat adds up. Each effort builds upon the last, creating exponential progress over time. Imagine a single drop of water falling on a rock. Alone, it seems insignificant, but over years, those drops carve deep grooves into solid stone. That is the essence of consistency. Small acts, done repeatedly, have power beyond imagination. The same principle applies to your habits, your mindset, and your goals. Every minute you invest consistently in your health, learning, work compounds quietly, shaping your future. The key is persistence, staying the course even when progress seems invisible. Consistency is faith in action. It's believing that your efforts matter long before results appear. Most people quit not because they lack ability, but because they lose patience. They stop when progress slows, unaware that consistency was about to turn effort into momentum. Is that consistency always pays? Not immediately, but inevitably. Consistency also builds identity. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you strengthen your belief in yourself. You prove to your mind that you can be trusted, that you are someone who finishes what you start. This self-trust becomes the foundation of confidence. On the other hand, inconsistency erodes self-belief. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you teach your mind that your words don't matter. The cycle of inconsistency breeds doubt, while consistency builds certainty. This is why consistent people often appear confident. It's not arrogance, it's self-alignment. They know that their actions reflect their intentions. Over time, consistency doesn't just change what you do. It changes who you are. You begin to see yourself as reliable, capable, and resilient. And when you believe that about yourself, you act accordingly, creating a powerful cycle of growth and fulfillment. The strength of consistency is not just about persistence in action, but also persistence in attitude. Life will test your resolve. There will be days when you feel uninspired, when results seem far away, when obstacles appear endless. Consistency does not deny these struggles. It endures them. It means continuing to move forward even when motivation fades. Is in those moments, the hard, quiet, unseen moments, that character is built. True consistency is forged in discomfort. It's easy to be consistent when everything is going well. The real test comes when it isn't. Those who persist through the storm emerge unshakable. They have learned that progress is not about perfection. It's about perseverance. Each day you stay consistent in the face of difficulty. You grow stronger, more disciplined, and more focused. That strength compounds over time, making you unstoppable. Powerful aspect of consistency is its ability to create stability and clarity. When your actions are consistent, your mind becomes calm. No longer waste energy debating whether to act. You simply do. Routine replaces resistance, and discipline replaces doubt. This mental clarity allows you to focus on improvement instead of initiation. You begin to refine your craft, optimize your process, new levels of excellence. Consistency creates structure, and structure creates freedom. When your days follow a rhythm, your mind feels secure. Creativity flourishes within that stability. Paradoxically, consistency, which many see as restrictive, actually liberates you. It frees you from chaos, procrastination, and indecision, giving you the space to thrive. However, consistency is not the same as rigidity. Consistency allows flexibility. It adapts without breaking. Life will not always go according to plan, and circumstances will change. The consistent person adjusts their methods, but never abandons their mission. They understand that missing a day is not failure, giving up is. Consistency is about returning to your purpose, your practice, your path, again and again, is the resilience to begin anew each time you stumble. Every comeback strengthens your commitment. This flexibility within consistency ensures longevity. Because success is not about doing something once, it's about doing it long enough to see results. Consistency also teaches humility. It reminds you that progress is not a single event, but a continuous journey. You learn to value process over perfection and effort over applause. You stop chasing dramatic moments of achievement and start appreciating the quiet satisfaction of progress. The daily grind becomes meaningful because you understand its purpose. Each repetition is a step toward mastery. You learn that consistency is not about speed but direction. Moving slowly in the right direction is infinitely better than rushing nowhere. The patient, consistent person may appear slower than others, but they will always go farther. Because their strength lies in persistence, not pace. The strength of consistency extends beyond personal growth. It impacts relationships, trust, and reputation. In relationships, consistency builds safety. People trust those who are predictable in their integrity, reliable in their actions, and steady in their emotions. In leadership, consistency builds credibility. People follow those whose actions match their words. In business, consistency builds loyalty. Customers return to what they can depend on. Everywhere in life, consistency creates stability, and stability attracts growth. The inconsistent, however talented, cannot sustain success because trust, from yourself or others, is built only through repeated reliability. In the end, consistency is not a skill you are born with. It is a choice you make daily. It begins with small decisions to wake up on time, to work toward your goals, keep promises, to stay the course. Over time, these small acts compound into greatness. Consistency is not about perfection, about persistence with purpose. Every minute you remain consistent, you are investing in your future, carving a path toward excellence one action at a time. The world may not see your effort now, but time will, and time rewards the consistent. Keep showing up, even when it's hard. Keep moving, even when progress is slow. Because one day, those small, consistent steps will add up to something extraordinary. A life of success built not on fleeting moments of inspiration, on the unwavering strength of consistency itself. Chapter 12: The Habit of Excellence. Excellence is not a single act, nor is it the result of chance or luck. It is a habit, a way of life, a mindset that governs everything you do, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. The habit of excellence is the art of giving your best effort, consistently and consciously, in every task, every interaction, and every moment. It is the understanding that how you do one thing is how you do everything. That greatness is not found in occasional bursts of brilliance, but in the steady rhythm of care, focus, and pride in your work. The habit of excellence means refusing to settle for mediocrity, not because you are competing with others, but because you are honoring your own potential. It is the belief that every moment, every decision, and every action carries weight. That excellence is not about perfection, but about intention. The truly excellent person does not seek applause or recognition. Their reward lies in the integrity of their effort. Excellence, when practiced as a habit, becomes second nature. It becomes the standard by which you live, the foundation upon which you build a meaningful, impactful, and fulfilled life. To cultivate the habit of excellence, one must begin by redefining what excellence truly means. Many confuse it with success, but the two are not the same. Success is external. It is measured by outcomes, wealth, or recognition. Excellence is internal. It is measured by effort, discipline, and integrity. May not always control success, but you can always control excellence. Excellence is doing your best with what you have, where you are, very moment. It is the daily commitment to improve, to refine, to learn, and to give more than what is expected. Is about showing up fully, mind, heart, and soul, whether anyone notices or not. When you commit to excellence as a habit, you stop asking, "What can I get from this?" and start asking, "What can I give to this?" That shift changes everything, because excellence begins where ego ends. The habit of excellence starts in the small things. Too often, people wait for big opportunities to give their best, but excellence is built in the unseen details. In how you organize your thoughts, how you treat people, how you follow through on your promises, how you care for your surroundings, and how you carry yourself even when no one is watching. The small, consistent choices form the foundation of your character. Excellence in the small prepares you for greatness in the large. Cut corners in the small things, you will crumble under the weight of greater responsibility. Excellence doesn't start when you achieve your goals, it begins in the moments that lead up to them. Every time you choose quality over convenience, effort over ease, and precision over carelessness, you strengthen the habit of excellence. It's not about being perfect. It's about caring enough to do things right. Excellence is a reflection of respect for yourself, for others, and for the opportunity life gives you to contribute something meaningful. Excellence also demands awareness and presence. To act with excellence, you must be fully engaged in what you're doing. Distraction is the enemy of quality. When your attention is scattered, your results are diluted. The habit of excellence requires focus, the ability to give undivided attention to the task at hand. This is where mindfulness meets mastery. When you are present, your work becomes art, your effort becomes meditation, and your results reflect depth. Excellence thrives in intentionality. When you act with purpose, not just routine. It's not about doing more, it's about doing better. Many people equate productivity with progress, but true excellence is not about speed, it's about precision. It is the deliberate choice to prioritize quality, knowing that time invested in doing something well will always yield greater returns than time spent rushing through mediocrity. But the habit of excellence also demands consistency. It's not enough to do great work once. You must do it again and again, especially when no one is watching. The world often celebrates moments of greatness, but true excellence is sustained effort. It's the musician who practices every day, the athlete who trains through exhaustion, the leader who leads with integrity, even when it's inconvenient. Excellence is not a switch you turn on when it's convenient. It's a way of being. It requires discipline, the willingness to repeat high standards until they become your default. You can't rise to the level of your goals, fall to the level of your habits. And when excellence is your habit, you no longer need motivation to perform well. It becomes part of who you are. The more you practice excellence, the less effort it takes to maintain it, because excellence compounds. It builds momentum, and that momentum separates the exceptional from the average. The habit of excellence also requires humility, the understanding that there is always room to grow. Excellence is not arrogance, it is curiosity. It's the willingness to ask questions, to seek feedback, to admit mistakes, and to learn from them. Those who believe they have already achieved excellence have lost it. The truly excellent know that mastery is a lifelong pursuit. They are never satisfied, not because they are discontent, but because they understand that growth has no finish line. Each day becomes an opportunity to refine, to elevate, to evolve. This humility keeps excellence alive, because it transforms every experience into a lesson and every setback into fuel. The pursuit of excellence, therefore, about comparison. It is about becoming a better version of yourself every day. Excellence also demands resilience. Will be times when your best effort is misunderstood, overlooked, or even criticized. In those moments, the habit of excellence becomes your strength. Do not lower your standards to match the world's expectations. You maintain them because they define who you are. Excellence is a personal contract, a promise you make to yourself to uphold quality, regardless of circumstance. The truly excellent rise, not because conditions are perfect, but because they bring excellence to every condition. They treat challenges as opportunities to prove their consistency, to demonstrate grace under pressure. Excellence shines brightest in adversity. It reveals what cannot be shaken, your character. Excellence also extends beyond individual effort. It influences everything you touch. When you live with the habit of excellence, you elevate those around you. Your example inspires others to raise their own standards. X is contagious. It sets a tone of respect, pride, and commitment wherever it is practiced. Whether in a team, a business, a family, community, consistent excellence creates culture. It builds trust, attracts opportunity, and inspires collaboration. Naturally gravitate toward those who consistently give their best. In this way, the habit of excellence becomes not just a personal achievement, but a collective force for growth and progress. Ultimately, the habit of excellence is an act of love. Love for your purpose, your craft, your time, potential. It transforms ordinary tasks into extraordinary contributions. It gives meaning to effort and dignity to work. Excellence is not something you pursue occasionally, it is something you practice perpetually. It does not come from pressure, comes from pride. The pride of knowing that you gave your best. And that, in the end, is what separates the good from the great, temporary from the timeless. When excellence becomes your habit, mediocrity has no place in your life. Every minute becomes a canvas for greatness. Every action a reflection of your integrity. You begin to realize that excellence is not about reaching perfection but about honoring the gift of time by using it well. Because when you live with the habit of excellence, every moment matters. And every minute becomes a masterpiece. Chapter 13. The importance of rest and renewal. Rest and renewal are not signs of weakness, but sources of strength, the silent foundations upon which sustained success is built. In a world that glorifies hustle and constant motion, rest is often misunderstood as laziness. Yet it is one of the most powerful investments you can make in your mind, body, and spirit. The importance of rest and renewal lies in their ability to restore balance, replenish energy, and renew perspective. They remind you that productivity is not just about working hard, but about working wisely. The truth is that no machine, no matter how powerful, can run without pause, and neither can the human being. Without rest, the sharpest mind dulls, the strongest will weakens, the most passionate heart burns out. Rest is not an interruption of progress, it is an essential part of it. It is the breath between efforts, the silence between notes, the stillness that gives meaning to movement. Renewal, on the other hand, conscious act of recharging, not merely stopping, but rebuilding. It is how you transform exhaustion into energy, confusion into clarity, and chaos into calm. Together, rest and renewal are the hidden engines of excellence. They sustain the pace of progress and give power to persistence. Truly understand the importance of rest, one must first recognize the illusion of constant productivity. Society often equates business with value, making people believe that slowing down means falling behind. But the truth is, motion without direction leads nowhere, without rest leads to decline. When you push yourself endlessly, your performance eventually deteriorates. Focus fades, creativity dims, and enthusiasm dies. Rest, then, is not the enemy of ambition but its ally. It is during rest that the mind consolidates learning, the body repairs itself, it reconnects with purpose. Think of nature. Even the seasons take turns to rest. The winter may seem barren, but beneath the surface, the soil restores its richness to prepare for spring's bloom. Likewise, when you allow yourself to rest, you are not losing time, you are preparing for growth. Without rest, your efforts become mechanical, but with it, they regain meaning and vitality. Rest brings rhythm to your life, a natural cadence of exertion and recovery that leads to sustained excellence rather than fleeting success. Renewal goes beyond rest. Rest is stopping, renewal is reawakening. Renewal is an intentional process of refreshing the mind, body, and spirit so that you can return to your path with greater strength and clarity. It involves reflection, reconnection, and recreation. Renewal is about stepping back from the noise to hear your inner voice again. It's about remembering why you started and realigning with what truly matters. Too often, people become trapped in cycles of work without purpose, mistaking motion for meaning. Renewal breaks that cycle by creating space for perspective. It allows you to evaluate, to adjust, and to grow. Just as the body needs sleep to heal, the soul needs stillness to remember its direction. Renewal can take many forms: solitude, nature, travel, journaling, meditation, creativity, or even laughter. Anything that recharges your energy and reignites your sense of purpose. Without renewal, rest becomes mere inactivity. With it, rest becomes transformation. The importance of rest and renewal also lies in their role in mental clarity and emotional balance. Fatigue clouds judgment and weakens decision-making. When your mind is exhausted, small challenges appear insurmountable. Creativity is replaced by confusion. Rest clears the fog, allowing solutions to surface naturally. Have you ever noticed that some of your best ideas come not while you're working, but while you're walking, showering, or simply relaxing? That's the power of rest at work. When the conscious mind relaxes, the subconscious takes over, connecting ideas and insights effortlessly. Emotional renewal works in the same way. When you pause, you give yourself space to process, to feel, to heal. The constant chase for productivity often suppresses emotion, but emotions unattended eventually surface as stress, irritability, or burnout. Rest allows emotional digestion, the ability to release what no longer serves you and to replenish your emotional reserves. A well-rested mind is patient, creative and resilient. A weary one is reactive, anxious, and fragile. Physically, rest is not optional. It is essential. The body repairs and rebuilds only in states of rest. Sleep, especially, is the foundation of health and performance. During deep rest, the body restores energy, strengthens immunity, and regenerates tissues. The brain clears toxins and resets its chemistry for focus and learning. When you deprive yourself of rest, you don't just lose energy, you lose efficiency, health, and vitality. Chronic fatigue leads to errors, injuries, illness. But more importantly, it steals joy. It turns passion into pressure and purpose into burden. Renewal brings the balance back. Simple habits like adequate sleep, mindful breathing, proper nutrition, and regular breaks throughout the day can dramatically enhance your well-being. Rest is not indulgence, it's maintenance. Just as you cannot pour from an empty cup, you cannot give your best if you are depleted. Time to recharge is not selfish. It is responsible. Spiritually, rest and renewal are acts of trust. Trust that life will continue even when you pause. Trust that your worth is not measured by your productivity. Trust that stillness has purpose. Many people fear rest because they fear losing control, but rest is not about giving up control, about surrendering to the natural rhythm of life. Just as the heart beats and then rests between each pulse, your life must also have intervals of stillness. Renewal nourishes the spirit by reconnecting you with gratitude and perspective. It reminds you that you are more than your goals, more than your achievements. You are a human being, not a human doing. Rest allows you to see the bigger picture, to rediscover meaning beyond the daily grind. It's in moments of stillness that inspiration often strikes, that purpose feels clearer, and that peace becomes tangible. The importance of rest and renewal also extends to creativity and innovation. The mind that never rests becomes rigid, repeating patterns instead of creating new ones. Innovation requires freshness, and freshness requires rest. Some of history's greatest breakthroughs came after periods of relaxation or retreat. Newton discovered gravity while resting under a tree. Archimedes had his eureka moment in a bath. When the mind is rested, it becomes more flexible, imaginative, and open, creates space for new connections to form, for intuition to speak, for imagination to flourish. In this sense, rest is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of creativity. But to benefit from rest, you must first release guilt. Many people struggle to rest because they feel unproductive while doing so. They measure their worth by output rather than balance. Yet, rest is part of the work. It is the investment that allows you to sustain excellence without losing yourself. The most successful individuals and organizations understand this truth. They build rest and renewal into their systems. Athletes schedule recovery days. Artists take retreats. Leaders meditate. Even machines are designed with cooling periods. You cannot operate at your peak if you never pause to recharge. Ultimately, the importance of rest and renewal lies in their power to preserve what truly matters: your health, your happiness, your purpose, and your humanity. When you learn to rest, you learn to respect your limits and honor your energy. When you embrace renewal, you learn to return stronger and more inspired. Life is not meant to be a race of exhaustion but a journey of rhythm. Work and rest, effort and ease, creation and reflection. The most successful lives are not those filled with endless motion, but those balanced with mindful pauses. So, rest, not as an escape, but as an act of empowerment. Renew, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. because in the silence of rest and the stillness of renewal, you rediscover your strength, your clarity, and your capacity to turn every minute into meaningful progress. Chapter 440. The Legacy of Time Well Spent. The legacy of time well spent is not measured by how many years you live, but by how deeply, purposefully, and meaningfully you live those years. It is the quiet testament of a life that valued moments over money, purpose over possessions, impact over impression. Every human being is given the same currency: time. Yet how that time is spent defines the difference between a life remembered and a life forgotten. The legacy of time well spent is not built in grand gestures or monumental achievements alone. It is woven in the ordinary moments where you chose presence over distraction, kindness over convenience, and growth over comfort. It is the sum of choices: how you used your mornings, how you treated people, how you pursued your dreams, and how you carried yourself when no one was watching. When time is spent with awareness and intention, it transforms from a passing current into a creative force, shaping not only your life, but the lives of those who come after you. Time well spent leaves echoes in the laughter you shared, the lessons you taught, the love you gave, and the difference you made. Becomes your invisible footprint in the world, proof that you didn't just exist, but that you truly lived. To build a legacy of time well spent, you must first understand that time is the only truly finite resource you possess. Money can be earned again, possessions can be replaced, but time, once gone, never returns. Yet, most people live as though it were infinite, trading their most precious hours for meaningless pursuits, empty entertainment, shallow validation. They chase the illusion of someday. Someday I'll travel, someday I'll rest, someday I'll do what I love, until someday never comes. The tragedy is not that life is short, but that it is wasted in the illusion that it isn't. The legacy of time well spent begins when you stop postponing your life and start living it now. You recognize that every minute holds potential to create, to connect, to grow, to love. You don't have to wait for the perfect opportunity to make your time meaningful. You can choose to make every opportunity you have perfect by the way you use it. The legacy of time well spent is a conscious decision to honor your hours, to infuse your days with purpose, and to live in alignment with your values. At its core, this legacy is about contribution, about leaving the world a little better than you found it. It's not about fame or recognition, but about influence and integrity. The person who plants a tree knowing they will never sit in its shade understands the essence of time well spent. Act of kindness, every lesson taught, every moment of courage adds to your legacy. You may not realize it, someone is always watching, learning from how you handle challenges, how you treat others, how you show up. Time well spent builds silent ripples that extend far beyond your own reach. You might inspire a child to dream bigger, a friend to take a leap of faith, or a stranger to believe in goodness again. Legacy is not about the things you leave behind, but the people you lift while you are here. The true wealth of life is not in accumulation, but in impact. The lasting impression you leave on hearts, minds, and souls. To create such a legacy, you must live intentionally. Intentional living means being conscious of where your time goes, aligning your actions with your deepest values, making deliberate choices that reflect who you want to become. Too often, people live by default, reacting instead of deciding, acting instead of directing. The legacy of time well spent belongs to those who live by design, not by distraction. Every morning is a blank page, every decision a sentence, and every day a paragraph in the story of your life. Ask yourself, what story am I writing with my time? Is it a story of courage and purpose, or one of regret, fear, and wasted potential? The beautiful truth is that you can rewrite it any time. Legacy is not something you build at the end of your life. It's something you build every day through your habits, your words, and your actions. Time well spent also means investing in what truly matters: relationships, growth, service, and peace. When people look back at their lives, they rarely regret not working more. They regret not loving more, not laughing more, not being more present. The moments that matter most are often the simplest: a conversation with someone you love, a quiet sunrise, a chance to help another person, a day spent doing something meaningful. The legacy of time well spent is found in those moments, for they are the ones that give life its richness. In contrast, when you allow time to be consumed by trivial pursuits, endless scrolling, empty comparison, shallow success, you lose the depth of living. Business is not the same as purpose. To spend time well, you must protect it fiercely from what does not serve your growth. Say no to noise so you can say yes to meaning. Say no to distraction so you can say yes to creation. Say no to what drains you so you can say yes to what fills you. Your time is a mirror of your priorities. What you give it to is what your life becomes. The legacy of time well spent also includes how you handle your failures and challenges. Every obstacle you face becomes part of your story. How you rise, how you learn, how you persist. Time spent in struggle is not wasted if it leads to strength, wisdom, and empathy. When you use your pain to inspire others, turn even your hardest moments into legacy. People will not remember how easily you succeeded, but how gracefully you persevered. Legacy is built in the quiet endurance of those who refuse to give up, who keep showing up even when no one applauds, continue to grow even when the world doubts them. Every season, joy and sorrow, victory and loss, has its purpose. The legacy of time well spent is about embracing them all and using each to shape a wiser, stronger, more compassionate self. Moreover, the legacy of time well spent extends beyond your lifetime. The choices you make today, the knowledge you share, the values you model, the kindness you practice, ripple into future generations. Your words can become someone's wisdom. Your courage can become someone's hope. Time can plant seeds that grow long after you're gone. This is how immortality works. Not through monuments or memory, but through the impact of your lived example. The legacy of time well spent is not about being remembered by everyone, but about being remembered deeply by someone whose life you touched. Ultimately, the legacy of time well spent is a reflection of love. Love for life, love for others, love for purpose. When you spend your time doing what you love, with people you love, in ways that serve others, you create a harmony that resonates beyond your days. The clock will keep ticking, but your influence will remain. And when your final hour comes, you will not fear its sound, because you will know that your time was not wasted. It was invested in meaning. The legacy of time well spent is peace, the peace of knowing you lived with intention, gave with compassion, grew with humility, and left behind a world slightly better than you found it. Minute mattered, every choice counted, every heartbeat carried purpose. That is the ultimate success. To look back and know that your life was time well spent. Chapter 15. Living every minute with purpose. To live every minute with purpose is to awaken to the profound truth that time is not merely something to be managed, but something to be honored, cherished, and directed toward meaning. It is to live consciously, not by accident or habit, but by design, to recognize that every breath, every choice, interaction carries weight. Living with purpose transforms ordinary existence into extraordinary experience. It changes how you wake up in the morning, how you work, how you love, and how you rest. It replaces routine with intention and replaces haste with depth. Every minute becomes a canvas for creation, every action a brushstroke that paints the masterpiece of your life. Purpose gives structure to time. It gives reason to effort and direction to energy. Without it, life drifts. Days blur, weeks fade, and years vanish in the haze of business. But with purpose, every minute matters, every challenge becomes a lesson, and every success becomes a stepping stone to something greater. Purpose is not something you find outside yourself. It is something you uncover within. A light that has always been there, waiting for you to live in alignment with it. Living every minute with purpose begins with awareness. The ability to be fully present, to notice where your time goes, question whether it serves your values. Too many people live on autopilot, following patterns they never chose, pursuing goals that were never truly theirs. They wake up, rush through the day, and collapse into the night, wondering where the time went. But living with purpose means stopping long enough to ask, why am I doing this? Does this align with who I want to become? Purpose transforms time from something that happens to you into something you direct, gives you clarity about what truly matters and courage to let go of what doesn't. When you live with purpose, you no longer measure life by the number of hours you fill, but by the meaning those hours hold. Become intentional about your actions, choosing what to engage in, how to respond, and what to prioritize. Awareness turns time into a mirror, reflecting whether you are living deliberately or merely existing. To live every minute with purpose also requires alignment, the harmony between your values, goals, and daily actions. It's not enough to know your purpose intellectually. You must live it practically. Many people have noble ideals but spend their time in contradiction to them. They value family but sacrifice it for work. They value health but neglect rest. They value growth but fear change. Living with purpose demands consistency. That your schedule reflects your soul, that your minutes serve your mission. This alignment gives power to your time. When your actions flow from your values, you experience peace even amid chaos, clarity even amid complexity. Purpose does not eliminate struggle, it gives struggle meaning. You may still face setbacks, disappointments, and delays, but when your life has purpose, you understand that every challenge is part of your path. The storms no longer deter you because you know your direction. You stop asking, how long will this take? And start asking, what will this teach me? Purpose gives you the patience to persevere and the strength to rise. Living every minute with purpose also means being deliberate with your attention. Time and attention are twin currencies. How you spend one determines the value of the other. In a world filled with distractions, your attention is constantly under siege by notifications, noise, and the endless pull of comparison. But a purposeful life is one where your attention is your own, where you choose what deserves your focus. Minute you give to something meaningless is a minute stolen from something meaningful. The secret of purposeful living is not doing more, but doing less of what doesn't matter. It's about focus. The discipline to say no to the trivial so you can say yes to the transformative. You cannot be everywhere, do everything, or please everyone. But you can choose to be fully present wherever you are, to do wholeheartedly whatever you do, give sincerely whoever you are with. Presence is the purest form of purpose. When you are fully in the moment, even simple acts, a conversation, a walk, become sacred expressions of meaning. Purposeful living also requires gratitude. The awareness that every minute is a gift, not a guarantee. When you understand the fragility of time, you stop taking it for granted. You stop rushing through days as if they were infinite and begin to savor them as precious. Gratitude transforms how you see time. It slows you down, grounds you, and fills you with wonder. Even the ordinary becomes extraordinary when seen through the lens of gratitude. The morning light, the sound of laughter, the comfort of a quiet evening, each becomes a reminder that life itself is enough. Gratitude anchors you in the present, while purpose propels you toward the future. Together, they form the heartbeat of a meaningful life. When you live with gratitude, you stop counting minutes and start making minutes count. Living every minute with purpose also means understanding that purpose evolves. It's not a single destination you reach once and for all, but a path that grows as you do. Your purpose at 20 may not be your purpose at 40. That's okay. Growth brings new insights, new passions, and new callings. The key is to remain open, to listen to the whispers of your heart, follow curiosity, to adjust when needed. Purpose is not about rigidity, it's about responsiveness, about trusting that as long as you are living with intention, your time will not be wasted, even if your direction changes. Every experience, detours and delays, adds depth to your purpose. They refine your understanding of what matters most. When you live with this openness, life becomes a journey of continuous rediscovery rather than a race toward an endpoint. To live every minute with purpose is also to serve. Purpose is never self-centered, it always extends beyond you. When your life is guided by service, by the desire to uplift, to contribute, to make others' lives better, every minute gains significance. A purposeful life is measured not by what you achieve, but by what you give. The time you spend helping others, sharing knowledge, or spreading kindness multiplies in value, creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own reach. Living for others does not mean neglecting yourself. It means understanding that fulfillment comes from connection. When your time benefits others, it feeds your own sense of meaning. Every minute spent in service becomes a legacy of love. Living every minute with purpose also requires courage. The courage to live authentically, when it's difficult. Purpose will sometimes call you away from comfort, from conformity, from what others expect. It will challenge you to take risks, speak truth, to pursue dreams others doubt. But when your time is aligned with your truth, fear loses power. You stop living for approval and start living for impact. Courage gives color to purpose. It transforms ideas into action. Without courage, purpose remains a dream. With courage, it becomes a destiny. Ultimately, living every minute with purpose is about presence, awareness, alignment, gratitude, courage. It is about living as though each moment were both your first and your last, full of wonder, intention, and love. It's about realizing that the meaning of life is not something you search for, but something you create through how you spend your time. Every sunrise is an invitation to begin again, every conversation a chance to connect, every challenge an opportunity to grow. You don't need to change the world to live purposefully, you just need to live fully wherever you are. Because in the end, the purpose of time is not to be measured but to be lived. Deeply, intentionally, beautifully. When you live every minute with purpose, no longer fear time slipping away. Instead, you feel it flowing through you, like music. Each note precious, each pause meaningful, each moment alive with significance. And when your days are done, you will not wonder where your time went, because you will know it was never lost, lived.